Hey guys, my name is Abbie. Thanks very much for joining me here today. This is the second of my new series, Top 10 Tips for Beginner Backpackers. Yes, nailed it. So today anyway, I want to talk to you about planning your first trip. So what do you need to consider if you're about to head out on the trail for a multiple day hike? I'm going to try really hard to keep this brief, and in order to do that, I prepared a list. Another thing to add is that some of this stuff applies when you're on the trail, so it's worth considering that. But as I said, I'm going to try really hard to keep this brief. So if there's anything I miss out, or any questions you guys have, please feel free to comment below and I'll do my best to help you guys out. Let's do this. So tip number 1, research about where it is you want to go. Find out about that region. I would say start local for now, and simply that's because you want to maximise the amount of time you have on the trail and minimise the amount of travelling time. Just kind of adds to the whole enjoyment of it. When you kind of figured out roughly where you want to go, talk to people who have been there, see what the terrain's like. Is it hilly? Is it flat? Look on the internet, perhaps read or scan through some walking books on the area. Basically, the whole idea of this is to minimise the likelihood of unexpected surprises. You just want to be comfortable when you get there. Tip number 2 is to plan your route. There's a fly that keeps flying around, which is getting a bit annoying, but we'll work with it. So sorry, tip number 2, plan your route. You need adequate maps and make sure you can read them. I would say if this is your first trip, which is kind of the whole point of this video, is start with an overnighter. So that means one day walking, camp, another day walking, finish. Keep it simple at this stage. You can build on it later. You want to really enjoy this experience. You want to brag to all your backpacking friends about how great it was. So don't overdo it. Keep it simple. That leads me on to tip number 3, which is have a plan B. Does that rhyme? Kind of. Yes. So tip number 3, have a plan B. What I mean by that is if the weather comes in, you need to make sure you've got somewhere that you can, or a route that you can take to get down to civilization or a safer place. So look out for tracks, for roads, kind of obvious routes that you can follow, especially if you're going to a higher up region. Make sure you can get down quite quickly. At this stage, you really don't want to be getting struck by lightning. Not good. Tip number 4 is to prep your gear. Now what I mean by that is you need to consider how long you're going for. If you are doing an overnighter, probably a 38 litre backpack is the max you're going to need. Fly. So if your tent doesn't fit inside, bung it on the outside. You need to make sure everything's pre-packed, you know where everything goes. I'm not organised in real life, but when it comes to backpacking, I'm pretty organised. So I have dry bags, they are colour coded, and I keep stuff in those dry bags, and I keep those dry bags in the same place. Just means when it's dark, you can access stuff really quickly, and I think it's important to build on that kind of organisational skills right from the beginning, so I'd really recommend you do that. Prep your gear. Kind of the next obvious tip is tip number 5, which is to make sure you know how to use your gear. If you're getting a tent, or if you've got a tent, just make sure you can put it up in daylight, and make sure you can put it up in the dark. If you're getting new boots, kind of obvious, make sure they're broken in. That means, you've worn them for, say, 20 odd miles and they're just comfortable now. If you are getting new boots, I would perhaps consider getting half a size or even a full size bigger than you normally have. In heat, my feet especially swell up, so if you don't have the space to accommodate that extra swelling, you're going to get blisters, so consider that. A compass is another example. A lot of people take a compass but they don't know how to use one, so just make sure you know how to use it. Tip number 6 is meals. So you know what you eat during a day hike. If you're walking for 2 days, times that by 2. But it's worth considering the terrain. If you're going to be in a mountainous area, you need to be eating more calories than those of us who might walk in a flat grassland region. At this stage, it's okay to overestimate what you need to eat. You don't want to be lacking calories. And then gradually, through experience, you'll kind of hone what it is that works on the trail. Now, I made the first of this series was snacks, about snacks. So it's considering the calorie to weight ratio, and I wasn't just pointing to my guardian angel, that's the video up there. So do check that out if you're looking for inspiration for snacks and you want to learn more about kind of what you can eat on the trail. So tip number 7 is make sure you're physically and mentally ready to go and walk. Physically, if you're walking for a whole day, say every weekend, I'm pretty sure you can manage 2. But mentally is a thing people often overlook. Are you ready to go and walk by yourself for 2 days? If yes, enjoy it, that's great. If no, then consider taking a backpacking buddy along with you. Adds to the fun of it, but it is worth considering this is your adventure. A lot of people who are experienced in backpacking have their own system for when it comes to taking breaks or setting up camp or taking down camp. They need to know this is your adventure and you are trying to build your own style. So just consider that, perhaps have a chat with them and let them know. I mean, most of the time there's no issues, but you want to build your own style, not kind of jump onto someone else's. Tip number 8 is to communicate. Bam, that works too. So obviously plan A and plan B are really important to you, but it's also extremely important other people know what you're doing. Safety is obviously the whole point of this. So leave your itinerary with friends, with family, and if you change it, just make sure they know. Tip number 9 is to be flexible. If you see the weather forecast is looking pretty miserable, don't go, postpone it. The trail is always going to be there. It's not worth putting yourself in danger of flash flooding or lightning or a rock fall or anything, just for the sake of walking it. And as I said before, you really want to enjoy this experience. You don't want to be put off backpacking because it's so much fun. So keep an eye on the weather forecast. If it's looking pretty drab, postpone it. And the final tip, pretty cheesy but really worth mentioning, is enjoy the anticipation of your next adventure, or of your first adventure. A lot of people get stressed out with the whole planning stage of things. Don't, just chill. You know, a couple of days, a couple of hours a day researching is all you need. Don't kind of cram it into a day and get pretty hot under the collar about it. You need to enjoy this, and when you have succeeded in planning it, be proud of yourself. That is a good achievement. It's a great achievement because you've pretty much set yourself up for success. So the final thing I just want to add is thank you very much for watching, and the next video is going to be about tips for when you're on the trail. So maybe check that out before you actually head out. So, you know, as I said, thanks for watching and enjoy your next adventure.